My golden retriever boyfriend has been chasing his coworker for a few weeks. I let him off his leash so he could pursue her. I have been with my boyfriend for 6 years and we've been living together for the past 2. He was a kind giant who helped everyone on the streets. He takes great interest in his studies and always helps me with all of my assignments. He's the type of guy to help an old lady cross the road even if she doesn't need help. I was confident that he was going to become my husband one day, but turns out our 6-year relationship was not enough to keep him away from cheating. Recently, he went on a work trip with a new colleague and came back on cloud 9. I asked him what made him so happy, but he would always change the conversation about how beautiful the country was. Eventually, I got him to describe his colleague to me and said, "She's the funniest person I've met, the best sense of humor." This made me insecure because I saw how a girl having a sense of humor was a huge turn-on for men. I asked him to share some jokes, but he said that I wouldn't understand them. Shortly after, I noticed he was hiding his phone more and more often. Every morning I woke up and saw him on his phone smiling, and when I checked to see what he was doing, he would turn off his screen. He took it so far that he got a screen protector where you can't see the screen at a certain angle. I confronted him and asked if he noticed that he was distancing himself, but he said, "I think you are on your period, everything's fine." I was confident that I wasn't on my period, but I didn't want to make assumptions about him, so I tried staying quiet as long as I could. It didn't take long until I confronted him again. One night, while we were eating dinner, I explicitly asked him if he was texting his colleague and he said yes. I asked him what they talking about and he said, just about some work and goals to achieve for the next day. I then asked him why he smiled that often and he said, "Because she sometimes makes jokes." I believed him but asked if he could slow down building this new relationship so we could take ours to the next level, to which he agreed. That's when I realized that he was a golden retriever. He wanted everyone to be happy. 2 days later I felt what can only be explained as women's intuition. I asked to see his phone, which I've never done. Sure enough, hundreds of photos were shared with a colleague over the last few weeks, and messages were shared with her while I was left on delivery. I asked to see his Instagram and he added an enter, hours after I had asked him to slow things down with her. I thought the messages were flirtatious because they were talking about showers and their favorite adult films categories, but he assured me that he was not capable of flirting with her. A week later, he told me that he told his colleague that I was uncomfortable with their relationship. I wish he hadn't aired our problems out to her and had been a man about it. Then he asked me if he could start texting her out of work hours again because he feels bad that he made things awkward. Throughout this, he still neglected our underlying relationship problems and instead prioritized her and her needs. When I call him out, it's my fault for assuming such a lovable guy could be capable of such calculated betrayal. This is part of his character because he's close friends with 2 of his exes. I've told him how his relationship with them made me uncomfortable too, but I've been able to get over them. A part of me trusted that my husband wouldn't cheat on me, but I had no way of finding out whether his coworker wanted to hook up with him or not. Over the next few days, I kept a close look over their chats. They didn't seem to flirt as much, but that was until my husband asked me if he could go out for dinner with her. I was hesitant at first, but he assured me that everything would be okay and left. He was gone for 3 hours and at that point, I started worrying. I called him numerous times but he didn't answer. On my 6th phone call, someone else answered the phone. It was a female voice telling me that my husband was showering and that he'd call me back soon. He told me that he had gone for dinner but for some reason, he was in the shower. I didn't have direct proof that he cheated on me, but I had every right to assume so. I stopped trying to contact him and instead started packing his bags. When he arrived an hour later, he saw his bags in front of our apartment door and he started smashing the door. I refused to open it and asked him to leave and come back in a few days. Edit, it's been a week since he left and I'm sure he's not returning. I'm starting to think that I made the wrong choice.